A very good morning to you, Desiree. It's been a really interesting morning hearing from the Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, exactly what the plans of the Eastern Cape are in terms of really growing the economy, really zooming in the port of Ngqurha and also the port of Gqeberha. One thing that really stood out as he opened up his speech was that for a long time, while other ports such as the Sardinia Bay and KwaZulu-Natal have been putting up their hand and saying, we've got this to offer, the port of Ngqurha and the port of PE have been sleeping on themselves for a long time. And he said now he is vowing and also committing himself to make sure that we put up our hand as a port of Ngqurha and the port of PE to say we have so much to offer and let's start offering that to grow the economy. But joining me this morning is the MEC for Economic Development, Mlungisi Mvoko. Talk us more about this morning. Let's just first go straight into it, MEC. For a long time, the Premier said that we have been sleeping on our ports, the port of Ngqurha and the port of PE. What are the plans now to actually maximize on these ports, especially for the Eastern Cape's economy, which is currently facing a lot of challenges?
Thank you very much. Good morning. I think you are aware of the relocation of Transnet to Gqeberha or Nelson Mandela Bay. We've been in negotiations with Transnet for quite some time now, especially about the port of East London that has not been developed for 50 years. And we have Mercedes-Benz is located there. And whatever you want to get to Mercedes-Benz will have to come to PE, gets on the road into East London. So we have been in negotiations. So today was about Transnet briefing us about their plans, firstly, on what are they going to do to develop the port of East London. Because if that port is developed, it would create a lot of opportunities both in business and jobs. So that was the purpose of today. But also what is going to happen here in Gqeberha or Nelson Mandela Bay. The relationship that business and government have, because part of the session of today is to actually strengthen the relationship between government and business. So as we have heard inside the chambers, the business chambers, we're talking, but the biggest challenge is that we're talking past each other. So this is a platform created for Transnet to brief us about their plans, but also to create for us to engage or to agree that going forward we've got to have frequent such engagements where Transnet and in the Chamber of Businesses and government come together and talk about those plans.
Ms. Mvoko, we can't speak about growing an economy or growing businesses if there's an issue of water, which we are currently facing in the metro. There is a plan that's now been authorized for the desalination plant. What role would that plant play? And also, will we see more funding going towards that plant because it will assist businesses and that in actual fact actually assist the economy as well?
I had a meeting with the mayor 2 days ago regarding the shortage of water in Nelson Mandela Bay. I'm happy to firstly to say that Ngqurha has got plans of a desalination plant for about 15 megaliters, and currently they are using 3 megaliters in the Ngqurha in the zone. So one of the discussions was actually centered on how the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality could tap on the excess water. But secondly, they also have their own business plan on desalination. But thirdly, there's also an offer now coming from Transnet, from the group CEO, saying, let's talk. We've done this before. So the biggest challenge is that towards the end of this year, the western part of the Nelson Mandela Bay is not going to have water. So we are just hoping that by that time we would have come together. Yes, there are plans by the Nelson Mandela Bay using the Ngqurha and trying to redistribute that water from Ngqurha into the western side. And we are hoping that by that time we would have plans. They've done an application, so I've been tasked by the Premier to then facilitate the meeting between the Department of Water and Sanitation, National Treasury, and Transnet and ourselves to talk about how we could assist the Nelson Mandela Metro, because the only way in which we're going to have water now is to go the desalination route. But we must say upfront that desalination is not a cheap solution. It's a very expensive solution, but we've got to have that solution here in Nelson Mandela Bay, and that's what I've been tasked to facilitate by the Premier.
Lastly, MEC, the Group Executive for Transnet, Portia, talked about another area that the Eastern Cape is sleeping on, the issue of agriculture and how the ports and agriculture come together to increase exports. Are there plans also in your talks with the local government to speak about the agriculture sector, a huge economic driver as well, and how we can utilize the ports to export our agriculture?
You might also be aware that we are looking for, Ngqurha Development Corporation has been tasked to develop the third SEZ in the province, and that third SEZ is in the OR Tambo district. The objective of us having that SEZ is solely to ensure that that SEZ will deal with all agriculture would be coming out of that SEZ. So Ngqurha has been tasked to develop that SEZ. We are aware that agriculture has not been performing well in the province, in a rural province like ours, and part of the plans is that the MEC for Agriculture tabled in EXCO a number of irrigation schemes to be revived. So we're looking at reviving it because water has become a challenge not only for manufacturing in Nelson Mandela but throughout the province. So by reviving those irrigation schemes, we think there will be a better performance by agriculture in the province, but also trying to move away the youth, to bring the youth closer to agriculture is another attempt by the department as well, by skilling them. I think yesterday they had a graduation elsewhere that in one of the agricultural schools. So one of the things that we have to do is to try and we've got to encourage the youth to also participate in agriculture. But we must open up and ensure that they participate meaningfully. We can't just have people trained and they go back and they sit at home and do nothing. So that's one of their plans by the MEC for Dr. Da. So if we deal with the irrigation schemes, it will create more jobs, but will also bring the water that is scarce in the agriculture, and we sure hope that it will perform better.
That was the MEC for Economic Development, Lungisi Mvoko, just speaking about some of the plans they've put in place to grow the economy of the country, but also speaking especially on the issue of water, Daisy, which you are aware that was facing a water crisis in the metro, and you were saying that a desalination plant is a solution, but it's not exactly a cheap solution, but there are plans to make that happen. Also speaking about the issue of getting young people involved in another huge economic driver in the province, which is agriculture, saying that it's not enough just to skill them, but also in skilling them, also make sure they get jobs and are employed to grow this economy as well. But for now, let's go back to the studio.
Lerato Fekisi, thank you so much for that update.